All right, welcome to the weekend for our meditation practice, mindfulness meditation. I am Zach Feeney, the Coach Zach Feeney, and today I'll take you through a guided meditation for resting in the flow. We'll say uncertainty doesn't need to create more anxiety, and so this mindfulness practice will explore or be an exploration for embracing change and appreciating the ride. Stress reduction, helping with depression, coping with illness and adversity, improved relational skills, and an ability to make better, less bias prone decisions. All of these things can benefit or benefits can flow from mindfulness training. But they might all be seen like byproducts of traveling along a path to deeper awakening, which flows from the recognition that nothing in life, including ourselves, is stuck in the way we habitually think. In mindfulness practice, we train in letting go of our stories about stress and pain, learning that thoughts are not facts, and watch sensations change from moment to moment. We notice that experience is fluid and can be perceived without taking it so personally. We learn that pain, stress, thoughts, and everything else that occurs in the mind and body are not quote unquote me. Why does me quote unquote always change? Why does it always change? What kind of me is there? When we ask ourselves this question, most of us will come up with a list of identities, perhaps a name, a profession, a family role, a nationality. Already there are problems with this. As John Kabat-Zinn puts it, your name is just the sound that your parents gave to you when you were born. It may be applied consistently for convenience throughout a lifetime, but what it refers to certainly shifts over the years. I am not the same me who had my name as a baby. The composition of our bodies is in continual flux. Over the last few weeks, your epidermis, the layer of skin that covers your body, has completely regenerated. Cells in the stomach are replaced after about 5 days, while our livers regenerate every year. Our entire skeleton is replaced every 10 years. The brain changes all the time, too. Over the last 15 years, researchers have learned that neural shifts occur as a consequence of events in the mind, body, and life. An experienced taxi driver will develop an unusually large hippocampus, a part of the brain associated with learning, memory, and spatial processing, while a skilled musician's fine motor cortex will reflect their years of practice. Even learning to juggle over the course of a week produces observable neural changes in the brain. Many people believe that the core of their self resides in the brain, but if we never have the same brain from one moment to the next, how could there be such a core? And what makes up me? The evidence from neuroscience research suggests that what feels like me is, in fact, an infinite number of changing aspects of mind, brain, and body, working in harmony to produce a sense of coherence and agency from the events of life. The experience of being me is a projection, a bit like when a film appears on a screen from the projection of different colors. This projected me assumes responsibility for actions that actually occur as a fluid interchange of indefinable aspects of mind, body, brain, and environment. There are heavy costs to this assumption. You don't have to get depressed to witness how close identification with thoughts, emotions, and sensations create suffering. Every time we turn a thought into a fact in our minds by calling it mine, we become blinded to the reality that it is influenced and often biased by causes and conditions in our past and present. When we identify with a thought, it becomes difficult to see its biases, and we become trapped in a virtual version of life, doomed to self righteousness, paranoia, negativity, or other patterns of distorted thinking. Similarly, when we identify with an emotion, we become prisoners of our own moods. And when we get caught up with our bodies, we feel at their mercy. struggling with the journey through life that inevitably proceeds towards infirmity and breakdown. Relief is attainable by shifting perception and letting go of the falsehood that we are in complete control. By recognizing the conditioning that deeply affects our lives, we can start to give to ourselves and others a break. At the same time, realizing we are multifaceted beings that change from moment to moment and flow with an ever shifting biological, psychological, social, and environmental context, we can start to practice riding with the changes. We can hold our beliefs and opinions lightly rather than construct blindingly fixed identities from them. As soon as we are aware of thoughts and sensations arising in experience, rather than getting caught in an attempts to grasp or reject them, a glimmer of space emerges between the events of our lives and our reactions to them. In this space, reactions can become responses, and tensions and resistance can fall away, along with the stress they generate. Life becomes a dance with the world rather than a war against it, a flow rather than a struggle. By dropping our tight identification with what comes up in our minds, bodies, and lives, we can start to feel better. As a famous meditation teacher once put it, if you let go a little, you will get a little happiness. If you let go a lot, you will get a lot of happiness. And if you let go completely, you will be completely happy. Being human is like flowing as a river. Many moving droplets make up the stream. The river changes all the time, yet there is continuity as it follows well-worn grooves through the landscape. A river cannot suddenly shift its direction, just as we humans tend to follow a course set by past events and patterns. Yet the more we become aware of how the flow occurs and the grooves are followed, the more we can relax into the ride. As we see more clearly, we also become more able to steer our way skillfully through the current. A good way to begin is to practice resting in the flow, as in this meditation. So settle into a posture for sitting meditation, feeling the connection of your body to the floor, cushion, or seat. And at any time during this practice, especially if you feel disconnected or disembodied, come back to this sense of groundedness, anchoring your experience. You may close your eyes. Begin paying attention to breathing. Notice how each breath, each moment of each breath is a unique experience. Not the same as the previous one or the next. Notice how the breath happens without you controlling it. Your breath is happening within you. You are not choosing to breathe. And note too that all of the automatic processes of the body, oxygenation of the cells, blood flow, heartbeat, and so on, are happening in the same way. As best you can, relax into this experience. Now open awareness to the whole body. As sensations rise into consciousness and pass through, Recognize that they are all impermanent, continually transforming in intensity, location, and quality. Let them be experienced moment by moment and allow them to pass through as best you can without attachment or rejection. Recognize too that the physical constituents of your body are in flux. Skin is being shed, cells are growing and dying, some neural connections are strengthening, others are weakening. Now bring awareness to thoughts. With a friendly interest, observe the patterns of thinking that are running through the mind, like clouds passing across the sky of the mind, making up its weather. Like the weather, these patterns are always changing, depending on atmospheric conditions. Realize that the thoughts you had a year ago, 5 years ago, a decade ago, each of which may have seemed extremely important back then, are now merely memories. And the thoughts appearing in the mind right now will share that fate. And now open up your mindfulness to every aspect of conscious experience: sensations, sights, sounds, tastes, smells, and thoughts. Let go into the space within and around you, remaining alert and present to whatever comes. Allow the play of experience to happen by itself, resting in the flow, moment by moment. And when you notice attention wandering to a particular place, acknowledge the wandering and open out to the whole panorama of experience once more. check back in with your body. What does your body feel in this moment? Are you holding tension in any places? Perhaps checking in with the feet and other touch points, like the knees, the hips, our hands, our shoulders. Even this breath, breathing itself. Just being really curious. What's alive for us right now in our bodies? For the next few minutes, we're going to play with working with cravings. And being settled and anchored in this body. Just bring to mind something that really gets our juices flowing, whether it's a food or something else we really like. We're also bringing to mind those itches that we feel like we have to scratch. Many of us that are in inbox zero, which is this constant race to keep our inboxes and our emails accounts as small as possible. We can bring this to mind. What does it feel like? When I opened up my computer and I have 58 new emails in the last hour. Whether it's something pleasant or whether it's something unpleasant that we feel like we have to deal with, just bringing that situation to mind. Really checking in to see what this urge to do something feels like in our body. This urge to hold on to the pleasant or the urge to make the unpleasant go away. Now notice how the craving shows up in your body. As we identify where it is in the body, we can dial up the curiosity. What does it feel like? Perhaps even naming to ourselves the physical sensations that are the most predominant. We can even explore how this feeling shifts and changes as we bring this curious awareness to it. We can even dial up the curiosity a little bit more. If we had to pick it more on the right side or the left side of the body. Is it more in the front or the back of the body? And what happens simply by curiously exploring where it is? How long does this sensation last? Is one sensation replaced by another that becomes more predominant? And if we notice that the sensation is fading away, that was brought up by imagining that food or the email inbox, notice what it feels like now just to rest in awareness in the body. Notice what it feels like to know that we can become aware of these sensations. We don't have to be slaves to our cravings. We can explore them with curiosity, moment to moment. Finally, explore any other urges or cravings that surface. For these last few moments, simply resting in awareness of our bodies, being on the lookout for these urges to get lost in fantasies, or those urges to beat ourselves up over something that might have happened earlier in the day or in the week. Just diving right in, exploring, and holding each sensation with this kind, curious awareness. Now you may start to open your eyes, and congratulations for going through that. This one was a little on the longer side, so if you're still with me, thank you. I appreciate it for sticking around with me for the longer sessions here. Um, we're getting into the midst of autumn here. If you're with me up here in upstate New York, and today is supposed to be pretty pleasant. So if you can get outside before we're supposed to get some more storms later, enjoy the nice weather before it gets a little chilly again, and have a excellent weekend.